The British Film Institute's National Archive is a historical treasure trove. 250,000 films capturing the manners, thoughts and dreams of a bygone era in sight and sound. But the staff here are fighting a constant battle to stop these flickering memories being twice around the world, handle material that's as flammable as gunpowder, and get through a lake of dry cleaning fluid. So, how do they do? In the days before DVDs and digital downloads, a night at the flicks was the #1 form of entertainment. But the movies that engrossed the nation were printed on reels made with a nitrocellulose film base, a highly flammable material known as nitrate that caused catastrophic fires in early cinemas. And worse, the stuff decays fast. Now less than half of the films produced before 1950 still exist. So, in the leafy suburbs of Hertfordshire, England, the British Film Institute is in a race against the clock to preserve and restore thousands of old films before they turn to dust. This isn't a few old reels of film left in a cupboard. 3 650 square metre vaults rise 10 metres into the air, housing more than 250,000 titles. And storing this much history is a major headache, because film degrades in warm air. So giant air conditioning units keep the temperature at a fridge-like 4 degrees. But the guys here worry more about the heat than the cold. This nitrate film stock has a nasty habit of occasionally spontaneously exploding. Storing it safely takes more than a smoking ban. The first layer of defense is these vaults made from 20-centimetre thick blast-proof concrete. And Scott Stark has the scary job of overseeing these chambers of horror.
We have 24 separate nitrate vaults here at Berkhamsted. There's a glass ceiling above each vault. There's 8,000 gallons of water on the roof.
But if there was a fire here, even 8,000 gallons, that's 36,000 litres of water, wouldn't put it out. Once alight, the nitrocellulose releases its own oxygen, so it will even burn underwater. All they can do is contain the fire, so it doesn't spread to the other vaults. To tackle the restoration, the film's got to come out of safe storage. Right now, the major restoration project is Listen to Britain, a 19-minute Oscar-nominated documentary showing Britain during the darkest days of World War II. It will take over 6 months to restore the 550 metres of footage. There's no such thing as a perfectly preserved copy of a 70-year-old film. After decades of running through projectors and rattling around in the tins, the film is covered with scratches and imperfections. So they've unearthed 5 different copies of Listen to Britain to make one good one, from the best bits of each. But these originals are far too valuable to be cut up, so Claire West has to select the best frames from each version and make copies. A film projects 24 frames a second. So in this 19-minute documentary, she has almost 140,000 frames to compare.
This is an absolutely brilliant job because it's so unique, and it's a real honour to be able to actually look at this material. You never know what you're going to look at next until you actually open the can.
To be too damaged to be run through a copy machine. A damaged perforation could rip a whole reel of film. So in the lab, film repair supremo Alan Trott rebuilds the tiny perforations that spool the reel through the projector. If the new version of Listen to Britain was just cobbled straight together out of 5 different copies of the film, it would be a Frankenstein's monster of mismatched parts. To even out differences in exposure and contrast between the versions, they're matched up in a process called grading. And the results are fed through to an antique machine next door. The optical wet gate printer is like a projector and a camera rolled into one. In this machine, the old nitrate will be used as a negative to reprint the film on modern stock. But even the best bits of the old film are marred by tiny scratches that could be massively magnified on the big screen. To fill in the cracks, the film is printed through, believe it or not, dry cleaning fluid. Dry cleaning fluid, they've discovered, transmits light just like the old-fashioned emulsion that used to coat film. So the printer churns out a scratch-free image to make Listen to Britain look as good as it sounds. After the film has been processed and reassembled, there's nothing to do but sit back and be transported back in time. The rejuvenated film looks as good as it did at its first screening back in 1942. One more little piece of history saved.